Hi everybody, hope you're well. Now, as most of you know, a lot of us, all across all the different servers, got the following PM from Howrse, and it was items are past trafficking. What's that? Well, in this video, I am going to try and explain this in a bit more detail because having read that PM, there was some things I still felt weren't exactly very clear, so I went and asked moderation for a few more things, so thank you for that. So I'm going to try and give hopefully a better understanding of it. It's not going to cover everything. This is very open-ended, as of, Howrse have said and other things. They are willing to interpretation on the rules that they set out, so we might not see it as a rule-breaking thing, but they might. So I'm going to try and bring this in a wee bit. I'm also going to explain why this was brought in too, because I think people will be wondering, well, this isn't fair, and that. I'm going to try and explain why, because I also asked those questions. So, they started out with, hello everyone, lately it has brought to my attention that there's been some misunderstandings concerned what is or isn't allowed when buying or selling items on the game, okay? So items can include horses, black market items, services too, and things like that. So it's not, and also I suppose it would include equus to a degree as well. So I wish to clarify a few points to make sure we are all on the same page regarding item or past trafficking. So what is past or item trafficking? Simply performing a transaction outside the available settings and systems offered directly by the game. So if I just give an example outside of this is like selling horses for items such as I'm selling a unicorn, but instead of giving me passes or equus, you give me a fifth element. That was a scam that was very prominent. Now, there are plenty of players out there who are very, very honest, okay? But because there are people out there who are not so honest, and not everybody in the world is honest, this is why this is a problem. Because a lot of people often would give this person their unicorn, and they'd never see the fifth element from that person, they'd immediately be blocked, and they'd never get the horse back. So, this also includes, as they've actually said in the PM, is selling a horse in direct sales for more than 1,020,000 passes. Now, obviously, with divines, that's up to 200 passes. So basically, some people, what we were doing was they would say you had a really rare GA coat, right? For example, you had a coat on international, it's really, really super rare. This is just an example, and you wanted 300 passes for it, but technically you could only, by the normal method, you could only put it on for 1,020 passes. So you would put more horses up, like junk horses, spare horses that you don't have any massive value up for the other passes, so that player would have to buy those. And then the horse, but the thing is with that is that player might buy those other, horses for lots of passes, and then you might decide, I'm not going to give them that final horse, the horse that they're actually trying to buy, and they've just bought a load of worthless horses for a huge amount of passes. That is why that's a problem, okay, for Howrse, because not everybody's honest, as I've said before. So then, with the black market items, can only be exchanged for other black market items or equus. And this is through the given, reserved or otherwise public exchanges. So basically now you can't sell black market items for passes. A lot of players did that. You're now not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to buy or sell them for passes. Simple as that. You're not allowed to advertise to it either. So then when you do, they're saying that the gifting system there is thing to do it. You shouldn't be asking for a fee for using the gifting system. So as far as they're concerned, if I, for example, if I gift somebody an MA and I charge them 2 passes, that's effectively I'm using the gifting system the wrong way. So that's why that's no longer allowed. So basically everybody was going around the intended use of that feature, right? Which, at the time, none of us really had a problem with it. And usually, for honest players, right, there wasn't a problem. But for people who scam, here we go again, scammers, okay? So basically now you can't list as having items for sale in your presentation. That is going to get you in trouble also. If somebody reports you for that, you're sanctionable, and you could lose karma. So, and you cannot sell passes on the game, so using horse sales or item exchanges as payment for that type of transaction isn't allowed, basically. So then there they have all the terms of service and that. Now, I'm not going to go into those because you can go in there and read them, but I am going to talk about this bit at the bottom. It says cheating, asking for users for their passwords, organising scams, breaches of trust, stealing accounts, trafficking with accounts, passes or in-game items. Now, I thought this didn't quite sound right, because whenever they have trafficking with accounts, passes or in-game items, that kind of me, when I first read that, I thought, well, that kind of just makes it sound like people who are multi-counting to gain passes and extra items. But I sort of had to go and ask about this because I didn't feel it was clear enough. So basically, if you're going around the regular system to try and increase your passes and things like that, you can't do that anymore. Now, I suppose, as I've said, there are other things that I want to talk about in regards to this, because I do think some of these things aren't completely clear. So basically now you can't ask somebody to give you, you can't sell horses for BM items and vice versa. You can't ask for passes for your items anymore. You can't, this is the other thing. They don't mention this, but this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about services. Some people would have asked a fee for advertising on their presentation. You can't do that. You've never actually been allowed to do that, because that can't be, there is no way for them to make sure that it's done. So basically it's kind of this whole scamming thing. If you can think of any situation, right, where somebody could scam or you could scam them in regards to passes or items, as far as I'm concerned, having read what they've sent out, that would count as item and pass trafficking. Because if I said, right, I'll charge such and such a player a pass for advertising on my page for 30 days, I could reserve them a horse, they'll buy the horse for a pass, and I might not put up their ad for 30 days, okay, if I wasn't an honest, player. This is an example of it. Also, another thing that's come in, this was a query, was AP hunting. A lot of people were AP hunting for people for a fee. What I have heard, and this kind of is coming through moderation, so is, from reading gameplay on that and some of the answers moderation gave, was if you have a friend, doing something for you and you want to give them something, say, for helping you with, maybe training a horse or something like that, you could do that. But if you're advertising publicly for somebody to AP hunt for you and you don't know them, this is where we get into this kind of pass and item trafficking territory, because you're asking for a service which is outside the conditions of the game. So effectively that is item and pass trafficking, in the sense that this player can come onto your shared account, you don't know them, they could do whatever they want, there's no real control. It is the danger of shared account access, and Howrse would stipulate that shared account access was there for players really to use if they couldn't get on the game themselves, not for the use of letting other players do work on their accounts for them. So yes, that kind of comes into it too. So all of these things used to be not okay, but they used to be outside the direct sort of really set out rules that they were kind of in a grey area where moderation wasn't really sure, can we sanction or can we not sanction? Now it is in black and white. And I'm basically saying to you now, if you have anything on your page about doing certain services or AP hunting, items that you're trying to sell for passes, or trying to buy horses for items and things like that, take them off, because all you need is one person to report you, and that's it really. And it doesn't even have to be that somebody reports you. I'm well aware that sometimes admin go on and they look through the game and they'll report things, well, they'll sanction, sorry, they don't have to report, they'll just sanction immediately. I am aware of that. So you just basically, you need to be really careful, try and work within the confines that we're given now, and it is going to be harder. And I could get into a big debate whether I think this should be something that they could work on as a game feature where people could have more ability to do trades or services in a safer environment, but I don't think that's on their priority list, so I don't expect it to be done. So basically what I'm saying is, guys, be careful. If you're not sure, ask moderation or send a ticket through, but possibly just maybe ask moderation first, because they might have a better idea, because they might have been asked the question already, so they can just copy and paste to you. But I hope you've had a lovely day, and bye-bye.